Hi everybody, it's Rhiannon from the Epsom Bakehouse, and I just wanted to quickly talk to you today about a quick topic that I get asked about a lot in classes and also in my Facebook group, Bake Bread at Home, and that is, why is my bread so soggy and dense in the middle? And I just thought I'd come on and give a couple of quick tips as to why your bread might turn out that way, because you don't want to be making all that effort to mix and knead your dough and let it rise only for it to turn out less than impressive. And we've certainly all been there, so you know what it's like. That disappointment is you're cutting through your fresh bread and it's all baked and warm from the oven. Don't cut it when it's too hot. And you cut through and it all sticks to the knife and you think, oh, it's not baked through. As I said, today we're going to cover the topic, why is my bread turned out so soggy in the middle? And it's a bit difficult sometimes to answer that question because I don't quite know the process that you all have followed, but I can give you a couple of quick tips. And the first one will be on the rising. So you really need to let your dough rise really well, especially before it's about to be baked. And I'm about to bake these loaves, and you can see that when I've shaped that loaf and let it rise in the tin, it's nicely rounded way above the tin. And you should be able to be getting your bread to rise that much. Now, I've left that for at least an hour, and it's a pretty warm day today here in the UK. So it's been about 23 Celsius and probably even warmer in this kitchen as the sun comes in. So as I said, even at those temperatures, I've left that to rise quite a long time. So that is my first tip. Did you leave your dough to rise enough? Be honest with yourself. Was it filling out the tin? Or did it really double in size? And what that does to help stop your bread being dense and soggy in the middle is that if you don't let it rise enough, your bread dough won't fill out with lots of gas bubbles that are produced by the yeast. And that's what's going to make your inside of your dough, when it's baked, is going to give it that open crumb. And the crumb is what we call the inside of the loaf. So you need to give it time to rise. My second tip is, are you making sure you're baking it the right way? And there's a couple of things I can say here, but one thing that I can really recommend is getting a stone, a baking stone. Mine is clearly well used and splashed, but a baking stone. This is made of terracotta, and I put it into the oven to preheat when I turn my oven on. So nice hot oven, but for this kind of loaf, just a straight white loaf, I'm doing it at 220 degrees. And I put that stone in, and you can get these all over the place now. Heat it up in the oven and let it preheat, and then you can sit your dough on it. Now, it's probably even more effective if you've free-formed a loaf, so not in a tin, but on greaseproof paper, and then you can just slide the paper onto the stone, and the direct heat from the preheated stone will really, really help your crust form and give direct contact heat to the bottom of your dough and really help it bake thoroughly when you're in the oven. It just really increases the efficiency of your oven in terms of baking your loaf. So that is my second tip for today. So if your bread has turned out a bit soggy, can you change those two things? So we're letting the rise time, making sure your dough is really well risen before you bake it, and also using a bake stone. So getting your oven nice and hot, 220 degrees, and maybe using a stone to make sure that you're getting a really good bake on your loaf. So those are my tips today for if your bread is turning out soggy and dense in the middle. And if you've got any bread making tips, or you've got any questions on what I've talked about today, then do leave me a comment. I will put a link to one of my blog posts about getting a great bake on your loaf in the comments. And I'm also really excited that I normally share these kind of bread tips on these pages, but I'm also now launching an online bread making course where I'll be sharing much more step-by-step guidance to baking your first loaf of bread at home. So if you just find you've not yet had the chance, or you've not yet started to bake bread and you really want to get that step-by-step guidance to baking bread in your own home kitchen, I am launching an online course, and I'll put a link to that in the comments as well. Because if you want to be the first to hear, I'll put a link to the wait list. So it's been really great if you're watching, and if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much for watching. I hope that tip's been useful, and I will be answering more questions on this page next week. So if you've got a question, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I will say have a lovely rest of your evening, and I will be back soon, so we'll speak more bread making soon. Bye.